Hello there guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leipaladin and today we're going to be diving into Halo Infinite's multiplayer, giving you my thoughts and opinions of the mode in the first of a multi-part series where I review Halo Infinite and the different aspects of the game. I should preface this review by saying that 343 have done a very solid job with this game overall, and Infinite as it stands now is a good scaffolding for a better and larger game sometime down the line. Given how well the game plays, feels, sounds, and looks overall, it almost makes up for the lack of content and for some of the game's faults, of which there are quite a few, but don't worry, we'll get to that. I think people are more forgiving of Infinite and some of the things it's missing as opposed to Halo 5, because it genuinely seems like 343 has made an effort to appeal to fans in as many ways as they can, especially in terms of the aesthetic, music, and gameplay. They've listened to some of the biggest gripes about the game and it feels much better because of it. Aiming is feeling better, or it could just be because I've gotten used to it. It's not perfect though, especially with some weapons, but it's otherwise an improvement. The selection of maps, while limited, is varied, with each one feeling different from the last, though Aquarius is basically just a worse midship, you can't change my mind, but it's still by no means perfect. We've got a long way to go before I feel as though Infinite will no longer be in just a solid or decent state, but actually good or potentially even great. And unfortunately, it's all got to do with things that I've covered before on this channel. I don't think it's a secret that Infinite's challenges and progression system is easily the most hotly debated topic and is what a lot of people consider to be the main thing that's holding it back. I made a whole video on this about a month ago that goes into more depth explaining the progression system, challenge swaps, XP, and everything else, and I'll be referencing points from that video a lot in here, so I'd recommend opening that up in a new tab, watching that first, and coming back to this video second. I'll give you a second to do that. You done that? Cool. Alright, welcome back. So, the last Inside Infinite update with the flighting outcomes seemed to give us a bit of hope, with 343 claiming that they had adjusted the challenges to be more focused on simple things like completing matches as opposed to more specific tasks like they were before. But seemingly with every positive bit of news that we get, there's also a negative. And that was doubling the XP requirement for tiers in the Battle Pass, going from 500 XP per tier to 1000 with only a minor adjustment made to the weekly challenges XP earn rate. 343, why are you out here making our lives harder and your progression system worse for no reason other than what appears to just be money? And it all comes back to the three major points I mentioned in my first video. Is it rewarding, is it fair, and is it consumer friendly? The progression system fails on all accounts to be any of these, and part of that is because Infinite's game design and sandbox feel as though they're actively working against you so you can't complete these challenges. Take this for example, get 5 kills with the Wraith Plasma Mortar. Any other Halo game, not that bad, right? I could hop into practically any big team battle match of Halo 2, Halo 3, and even some on Reach and Halo 4 and get this. But because of Infinite's element of RNG when it comes to spawning vehicles in the BTB game mode, the fact that most heavier vehicles like the Wraith rarely ever spawn, and the whole map is alerted to its arrival, how do you expect the average player to complete something like this? Many times you're left walking away from matches with nothing. Once you get past those earlier and easier stages of weekly and daily challenges, there's almost a hard cap for some people for how much XP they can earn, because some challenges are just borderline impossible, and that's partly because of 343's stubbornness and ineptitude when it comes to designing their game and just blatantly refusing to listen to community feedback. Unless of course you'd be so inclined as to spend a small portion of 200 credits on a cheeky challenge swap bundle. The big thing that everyone has been talking about for BTB was the vehicle spawns. Even the people who loved BTB complained about the vehicle spawns, and I don't even think it's an opinion that they're broken. They objectively are. You can't have challenges like these tied to your only means of progression when the chances of actually getting into a heavier vehicle are so low. Like I said, there's no guarantee on these BTB maps that a Wraith will spawn like others in the past. There's no guarantee that one will even drop, because most times a heavier vehicle spawns, it's in a game of Total Control or CTF that goes to the time limit, because the score limit on Slayer is only at 100 when it ideally should be at 150 at least for the increase of players from 16 to 24. This isn't something that's up for debate anymore. The argument of a progression of power makes no sense when hardly anyone ever gets to experience that power. I'm starting to feel like the whole game is just rigged against us and is in favor of RNG. The weapon and vehicle pads have, you guessed it, randomized weapon and vehicle spawns. Say you need a kill with a certain gun or vehicle for a challenge, and it hasn't spawned on a pad this match. Well, I guess you better play the match through or leave to lobby shop again to try and find a game that has the weapon or vehicle you need to get kills with. But again, no guarantee of that. It's one big random number generator that's keeping players stuck in this loop of trying to complete these challenges to progress with no element of certainty that you will. Excuse my tinfoil hat theorizing here, but I would genuinely not be surprised if fixed weapon and vehicle spawns like previous Halo games were scrapped and changed to the randomized vehicle pads and weapon spawns that we have now, partly because of the challenge system. And also, why do we still have asymmetric vehicle spawns in Big Team?
Banshee inbound.
It's not a Banshee, it's a brute chopper. Holy shit! This system is already affecting the way people play the game, and I can only see two ways to solve the problem. XP per medal earned in-game similar to MCC, or make challenges more general and less specific. None of this play 4 ranked matches or get kills with X vehicle or weapon crap, just make them something anyone can do, like melee kills, headshots, generic vehicle kills, not specific ones, or play a certain game type. The latter change won't fix the fact that some games you feel like you've earned nothing and completed nothing, but it will at least be a step in the right direction. Hi, sorry, me again, in the edit. So, 343 have replaced the previous daily challenges with a constant drip feed of 50 XP for every match you complete. While I think this is a step in the right direction, it doesn't really reward players who do well, and someone who went 30-2 and capped a flag twice in a match is subject to the same level of XP as someone who might have been AFK for most of the game. So I think an addition of a daily challenge of win matches would be great. So 50 XP for playing a match and 100 XP all up for winning one, to incentivize people to actually play better and win a match. 343, you said you didn't want this game's progression system to feel like a second job, but right now it's worse than a second job, because at least if I had a second job, I'd be getting paid for the hours I put into working, not for every stupid menial task my boss gave me to do that day. Counter to this, you have the cosmetic store, and oh boy, this is some stingy, straight out of an F-tier mobile game looking shit. Let me tell you, I knew something was seriously off when my buddy Kiv, check out his channel by the way, pointed out this helmet, right? This Bulbasaur looking, gridiron football headed looking ass helmet was worth 1,000 credits. The same price as the entire Battle Pass. How do you justify this being the same price as over 100 cosmetic and gameplay bonus items? It's simple. You don't. That's $15. $15 for this thing. Man, I can't even... What were you thinking? Bruce, it's been 5 years. You still owe me $15. Fuck off. And the fact that this armor set is almost double that price as well. It's crazy. $30 for the color white with some light blue accents, people. The worst part of it is that there is no way to earn credits through the Battle Pass, and thus no way to earn any kind of cosmetic or future Battle Passes for free, or at least for a discounted price. Hell, even Call of Duty lets you do that. If you want to buy the Battle Pass, you've got to fork out $15 Australian and progress through it slower than it takes for my nan to get off the couch after sitting through an entire episode of Bold and the Beautiful, and she's 93! Sorry, Nan, if you're watching this. You're lovely. God save the Queen. Cosmetics are such a core part of Halo and its appeal to people that having all this stuff locked behind paywalls is the scummiest of scummy moves. Especially when these helmets, well, let's be honest, they're not much to look at. But what happens when something like Hayabusa, theoretically, or Halo 3 Recon, or the legendary blue flaming helmet, God, that's a mouthful, that armor effect is locked behind a $15 paywall. And before any of you say,
but it's a free-to-play game.
Yeah, well, what's this then, You don't think 343 are gonna make a crap ton of money from the campaign alone, and with a battle pass that you can't unlock any other way than to pay for it? There's no justification for stuff like this. It's just blatantly money-hungry corporate bullshit and exactly the kind of crap that Johnny Silverhand told me to watch out for.
Dick.
Well, in his own special kind of way. It's like really bad modern art. You can read into it however you want. I will die on this hill, but we need a way to earn credits through either tiers in the Battle Pass or through gameplay. You can't lock everything behind a paywall. Can you at least give your customers the illusion of being somewhat pro-consumer? On a similar note to the cosmetic store, customization in this game is probably the most limiting and confusing it's been in the series. While the armor cores are a good idea in theory, being able to swap out to different Spartan armor cores depending on what you feel like, and I'm sure there'll be some really cool armor cores added later in the game's life cycle, I really don't like how you're unable to add something as simple as a coating to all the different armor cores. A coating for the Mark 7 armor is only available for Mark 7. You can't move it across to the Mark 5 or presumably the Yoroi. I can somewhat understand limiting pieces to certain armor cores, but something as simple as armor colors is just... well, it's annoying. The visor colors are limited too, which I don't understand. Well, actually, that's a lie. I do understand. It's so they can add those colors to the Mark 5 armor core and make you grind or pay for them, because Lord knows getting something once isn't enough. You gotta do it another 2 more times. I'd really like to use some of those funky Mark 7 visors on my Mark 5 EVA helmet that I currently have, but I can't. I'm restricted to the 6 or so that I have available. I know 343 aren't going to budge on the armor coating system. The community has already tried to scold them for it, but at the bare minimum, I think we need a better selection of base armor coatings, especially just basic primary colors, nothing fancy. Maybe just like a shade of pink or some, more shades of blue and red. That'd be great. Unless, of course, you want to charge us 500 credits for a different color red. That's cool. I really didn't think I'd be having to repeat this argument after Halo 5's launch, but the playlists available at the moment for multiplayer are piss weak, and there's no way of filtering out what modes you don't want to play. 4v4 quick play throws you into any number of modes ranging from Slayer to Oddball, Capture the Flag, and whatever that worst version of King of the Hill is, but there's no way to just play games of Slayer, for example. I'm not always in the mood for Total Control or FedEx Delivery Simulator, throwing your package at the door included. I mean, Stockpile. 343 put all this time into developing a really well-refined match composer system for the Master Chief Collection that allows you to essentially choose from a massive variety of modes to play, yet it's nowhere to be seen in Infinite. The other thing that isn't anywhere to be seen in this game is a selection of fun, casual modes. Like Halo 5, there's a massive emphasis put on 4v4 modes with objectives or Slayer, but no Action Sack playlist. No Fiesta, or Team Sprockets, or Escalation Slayer, or even a staple game mode like Griffball. And what about Infection? Are we supposed to wait several months for a game type that's core gameplay loop is literally as simple as I stab you with sword, you join my team? Do we have to wait for that? There's a leftover Halo 5 Infection picture and custom games, but otherwise, the mode is nowhere to be found. There are currently not enough available modes for those who just want to have a bit of fun, and Halo, first and foremost, should be fun. The game, I think, will suffer because of it in the short term. Maybe not as much as something like Halo 5, as Infinite does have free-to-play on its side, but we'll definitely see lower player retention for casual players and for those who are sick of playing the same modes in 4v4 and 12v12. And would it be a Lapelarden review without a couple of nitpicks? Get rid of the wasps on high-powered. Just get rid of them. Having multiple of them on the map at any given time and just seeing them sitting above your spawn like a VTOL from Modern Warfare 2 with no chance of escape, that triggered a Vietnam flashback, alright? It's the stuff of nightmares. And the fact that the only proper anti-vehicle weapon is the skewer, which is about as hard to use as Halo 2 Legendary All Skulls on, doesn't help. That gun in general, I think, needs a serious buff. I mean, considering how hard it is to use with the lack of aim assist, its reload time just being slower than molasses dripping off a spoon, and the fact that you have to compensate for bullet drop and aiming ahead of a target, I don't think it has enough power for a gun that has that many trade-offs. And I didn't even mention the sniper rifle, which basically does the skewer's job better than it does. It's practically the go-to anti-vehicle weapon in the game. The Ravager as well, I think, needs to be buffed. 3 direct shots to kill is rough, especially with how long it takes to shoot and its inaccuracy at range. And server selection as well. I think like the Master Chief Collection, Infinite would benefit a lot from a server selection tool, because multiple times when loading into a game of big team battle, my mates and I frequently ended up on servers with 150 ping or sometimes higher. It was fine in 4v4, but the moment we hopped over to big team, it just kicked in right away. Hit detection and registration feels somewhat off, especially with the sniper rifle. Melee and player collision is still very hit or miss. Literally. Phasing through people seems to be a normal part of the game, and the lunge will sometimes lock you into a forward-facing animation that you can't turn away from, leaving you vulnerable to attacks from the side if someone manages to dodge you. And backsmacks have a tendency to just not register at all. Which leads me to my next point of input-based and skill-based matchmaking. There needs to be an option to search based on input, same as MCC. If I want to search for only controller players, I should have that option. And while there isn't enough research into it yet, I'm almost certain that Infinite has SBMM of some kind in its quick play. We've seen what SBMM did to Call of Duty and its community, and trust me, the last thing Infinite needs is that in its casual playlists of all things. And it's particularly aggressive as well. I mean, one match I'm going off with 20 kills and barely any deaths, and the next, it disbands the lobby, partners me up with a bunch of different people. Most of the time I get some paste eaters on my side, and despite not playing any differently, the match just ends so much worse. And of course, the motion tracker. 18 meters, man. Why is it still this way? It is literally as simple as going into the game settings and changing that. I'm pretty sure it's an option in custom games too. It is not hard. I know most of this video has been looking at the negatives, but that's because I want this game to succeed and do well. Above all else, I'm enjoying myself. Well, they can and they did, actually. That's what's most important. This is the best feeling Halo game since 3, in my opinion, and when it's good, oh man, is it good. But once that match ends and you're brought back to reality and you check your battle pass progression to see that you unlocked sweet fuck all despite being top of your team or being the one who carried the objective that match, it's disheartening. In a day and age where attention spans are so short, where we're always getting a little rush of dopamine whenever our phone goes off or we open that fancy loot box, in an age where instant gratification is so important, this progression system single-handedly is going to be the reason Infinite falls flat on its face. Everything I said is coming to fruition. The gaming news outlets are picking up the story and rolling with it. The community is so preoccupied with hating it that Reddit has basically become an XP system bad forum overnight. So, to whoever did this, whether it was the intern at 343 whose only prior work experience was that he had worked on a mobile game, or the bigwigs at Microsoft who obviously don't know what they're doing,
clean up your mess.
You've got a solid game here, releasing at the best possible time to compete with the likes of Vanguard and Battlefield 2042. So get the ball rolling on fixing that progression system and the other gripes the community has with the game. You can't hide behind the title of beta build for very long. Otherwise, what do you guys think about Halo Infinite? Have you been enjoying it, and what are your favorite and least favorite aspects of the game? Feel free to let me know in the comments section below. I think I'd also be amiss to not mention the massive amount of attention the channel has recently acquired from the legend himself, Marty O'Donnell. It's hard to put into words, but it's a dream come true for me to be able to see one of my videos on his channel and receive his praises. And I think it's also worth giving a massive shout out to Shredded Nerd for showing Marty my video and being the reason he even contacted me in the first place. Wernisage for his support and just being my content making idol with his slick editing and heavily polished videos. And of course, my buddy Kiv, who was the reason I decided to take a crack at this YouTube thing in the first place. Thanks lads, until next time.